Okay, there we go. I talked about the monosodium glutamate, and last week I mentioned to you that there were 56, it could even be more items that's related to MSG that the Food and Drug Administration does not require the ones who manufacturing the foods to list it as MSG unless it's pure. If it's not pure MSG, then they're going to list it under some of the names that you see here on the screen, such as natural flavorings or spices, ultra processed. I want you to, if nothing else, take a screenshot of this so that you would have this at hand and you would know what you're looking at when you read the labels. But for tonight, we are going to talk about an ingredient called sulfites. Now, there's a sulfate and there's sulfites. And when it comes to sulfites, I have to have my notes with this so I make sure I'm saying it correctly. But the sulfites, this is where you have it's a salt and it's a sulfuric acid. And you probably encounter these every day because when we ingest even fruits and vegetables, many times those sulfates are on the fruit and vegetables. And sulfites are naturally occurring compounds found in all wines, and they act as a preservative, inhibiting microbial growth. So, the reason why I wanted to bring this to your attention this evening is because when I talked last week about reading the labels, I have to read them just as well as you. And I am in more detrimental situations since I had that near death experience from additives and from preservatives. But guess what? I had some grapes at a conference. Oh, they were so good and they were so sweet. And I decided, oh, wait a minute. I think I like to purchase some for myself and have at home. So those grapes did not give me any reaction or anything of that nature. So let me put that on the table. And secondly, let me say and put a disclaimer out there. I'm not a doctor. I do not practice medicine, but I know my body. And I always say, know your body better than your doctor because your doctor is going to depend on you sharing information with them so they can help diagnose what's going on with your body. And hopefully they'll find the root cause. Well, those grapes were so good at that conference that I decided that I was going to go and purchase some grapes. Hadn't had grapes in a while, so let me go purchase some grapes. I purchased the grapes, washed them, did all of the preparation that I normally do. Happened to decide, well, let me look at, because listen, I had already eaten a handful of them, but I decided, wait. If I'm going to, I have to practice what I teach. Let me look at the ingredients. So I expected to see what? Grapes. That's correct, grapes. Instead, not only did I see grapes, but I also saw contains sulfites. Contains sulfites. Now you might ask yourself, why would grapes contain sulfites? Remember what I just said about it's a sulfuric acid and it's a powder form. And so many times what industries do is they put that particular powder on the grapes or on fruits or on vegetables in order to preserve them, for them to last longer, for them to have a brighter color, a sweeter taste, for you to want more like I did. So I'm just as guilty as you all are. And so that is the reason why I wanted to bring this to your attention this evening, is because many times we would pick up the fruit. I used to be guilty of sampling a grape here or a cherry there as soon as I purchased them to make sure that they were sweet. No. That's not what we want to do. We want to make sure that we read the label, and then you want to make sure that you wash them properly. And there's a way to wash them. And I know that they have a wash that you can purchase. But even if you purchase that, read the label to find out what's in it. But you can always use white vinegar and soda. What do they call it? Oh, shucks. Anyway, the soda, not baking soda, but the other one. But anyway, you can use that in order to wash your fruit. Baking soda, that's what it is. You can use that to wash your fruit. You would notice that many times the fruit would have a white film that would appear on it. And that will let you know that something has been coated. So just pay attention to that. I have on the screen of the fruit because I purchased grapes and I did, thank goodness I have not had a reaction to it. I praise God for that. But I also want you to notice is that it talks about to maintain the preservatives and antioxidants to prevent browning, so to prevent discoloring. And they are, and if they're in, they are inorganic salts that they use in order to cover these particular fruits and vegetables. I had a conversation with a group the other day talking about this, and they indicated that they had purchased some strawberries and they put the strawberries in that solution of water that we're talking about with the vinegar and the baking soda. And all of a sudden, that water was turning red or pink. And so that lets you know that a preservative had been added to that particular fruit. So take notice of things such as that. And that will help us in order to continue to help ourselves. Now, there are PLU codes on fruits or vegetables, and it'll have a 3,000 number or a 4,000 number. And this number is just to signify that the convenience rather than if it's conventional opposed to organic. And it also helped the cashiers to know exactly what type of produce that you are purchasing. Now, this means the synthetic fertilizers have been used, or insecticides or pesticides have been used on these particular products when they have a 3,000 and a 4,000 number. Oops. I'm moving too fast. The next number I want you to take a note of is that if it's a 5-digit number, like the 9,000s, those indicate that it's organic. But the federal government is getting ready to change these numbers. If I go back to the prior screen, the current numbers are 3,000 and 4,000. The future numbers are going to start with 8,000. They're still GMO. They still have fertilizer. They still have all of these other pesticides or insecticides on them. You need to be aware of that. When it comes to organic, they're going to change the numbers. No, the numbers will stay at 9,000. The number currently is 9,000 and it will stay at 9,000. So when you're out there purchasing your fruits and your vegetables, pay attention to the numbers, the PLU code that's on the label. And it normally say PLU 3546 or something like that, or 4573 or 9884. So and the numbers are chosen randomly. So there's no particular, just that first digit is what you're looking for. Then we have water. Last week I had a couple questions and individuals asked about water, alkaline versus regular water. Well, I'm going to talk about just water, period. The Food and Drug and the Environmental Protection Agencies, they are both responsible for the safety of drinking water. And Darlene said, be careful to watch what happens. I didn't get that, Darlene. What happens when you are cleaning your fruit? Yes, be very watchful when you're cleaning your fruit, because there's a telltale sign. Remember I said that white coating that comes on the fruit lets you know if there's a wax on it, or if the colors is bleeding into the water, will let you know that there's something else that was put in the fruit. And they can inject fruit, they can inject apples, they can inject oranges, they can inject all these things. And pay attention to the dried fruit just as well as the fresh fruit. Because if you look at the label, it'll say sulfate or sulfites. But if I start going back to the water, the Food and Drug Administration, as well as the EPA, which is the Environmental Protection Agency, are both responsible for the safety of our drinking water. Now get this, the EPA regulates the public drinking water, whereas the EDA regulates the bottled drinking water. So that's why they're both responsible. Now, there are types of bottled water. And I was looking for a more recent number, but in 2005, I saw that there was 7.5 million gallons of bottled water consumed. And that put us at an average of 26 gallons per person. Now, here it is, 2024. So we already know that number probably have doubled. I've got to continue to research to see if I can find that up-to-date number. But I want you to look at the types of bottled water that they manufacture. You see that the drinking, you got, and I know a lot of people do the drinking water. It doesn't matter which one you purchase. The most important thing is to read the labels. Look at the back of the bottle right now and see what ingredients are in that bottled water. I drink spring water. And why do I drink spring water? I drink spring water because it's manufactured from the earth, and it right now my body can accept it. I don't have any reactions to it. I'm not sensitive to it. So therefore it works for me. When I go out in public, I have to take my bottle of water with me. And so, because I never know what type of water they're going to be serving. So if you're having insensitivity to the ingredients, chemicals, preservatives, additives, make sure that you take your water with you. Now, I brought this one on it. I'm not saying don't purchase Desanti water. Let me put that out there. What I did want to do is show you some of the ingredients that's in the water when I say that there are ingredients in the water. Now, what ingredients do you see right here? It says it's purified water, but what else does it have in it? I know you're saying to yourself that there's that sulfate, that magnesium sulfate. Look at the potassium chloride, the salt, the ozone. You know, I had drank a bottle of water before I had gone into church one Sunday. That was before I started reading all the labels. I had gotten into church, sat down, enjoying the message, and all of a sudden my heart went absolutely crazy. And I'm like, why is my heart going into an irregular heartbeat? I just had water. So I had to get up, leave out of church, go back to my car, look at the container of water, and in the back of it, it had these particular ingredients. And I keep a lemon with me in order to alkaline my blood. So I had to start sucking on the lemon. I couldn't put it in the water because the water already had preservatives in it that my body rejected. So I had to literally suck that lemon. Of course, you know, that's already, you feel your saliva glands drooling right now because just the thought of lemon. But be aware of the ingredients that's in water. Whichever type of water you decide to purchase, it's totally up to you. But I'm just bringing awareness to that even not only fruit can have these preservatives, but water can have preservatives as well. Here's Trader Joe's. This is where I purchase my water from, the natural spring water. It's underground sources. It's typically filtered through rocks and soil. Usually the earth. It does contain some minerals. Look at that. It contains calcium and magnesium. It doesn't say magnesium sulfate, but magnesium. So again, be aware and just read the labels. That brings me to the end of talking about the fruits, the sulfates, and water. And it's important again that you read the labels. So who can write in the chat box? First of all, let me know where you're coming from. And then tell me which, not necessarily the water that you purchase, but what are some of the ingredients that could be found in water? Let me see if I get any comments. Okay, come on now. I know you're listening. Let me see you. You might be on the YouTube channel and not necessarily the Facebook channel. All right. So yes, it is the calcium and it is magnesium, but it's also the sulfates and sulfites. So those are the things that you need to be watching for when you're in the supermarket purchasing your fruits and your vegetables. Now, I'm not the only one who's insensitive to these chemicals or to these preservatives or additives. My guest this evening is also sensitive to it. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen. I'm going to bring the PowerPoint down. My producer is going to help me bring the PowerPoint down. Okay. We'll get the PowerPoint down in just a second. And then we're going to bring up my special guest. And I tell you, she is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And not only that, she's going to share with you her story on how food and this insensitives played a havoc on her body when it comes to asthma. Okay. I'm trying to wait till my producer bring the PowerPoint down. Let me see. Okay, let's get this taken care of. I just hope this is not, as they say, delayed. But while we're waiting on him to bring the PowerPoint down, I want to just give you a little information about my special guest, Pastor Darlene Thorne. Um, she is going to be talking about her encounter with food that triggered her asthma. And Darlene is I tell you what, she's a jewel. She's multifaceted. She's a leader. She's a devoted wife. She's a mother. She's an author. She's a speaker. She's a coach. She's a mentor. And as CEO of the Heart After the Father LLC, Darlene guides women caretakers in holistic self care. Holistic self care. And that is so is essential because I know when I was taking care of my husband, I was taking care of him, but I was not taking care of myself. So as a caretaker, I tell you what, you must take care of yourself, or else you'll find yourself in a crisis situation as well. There it is. He got me down. Okay, excellent. And so let me give you a little bit more about Darlene, and then we're going to bring this wonderful lady up. She developed the Two Done List framework, which empowers women to prioritize self care and to overcome guilt, enabling them to thrive in all areas of life. Her coaching focuses on helping caregivers and entrepreneurs establish sustainable self care routines. So, Darlene, I think this is phenomenal as you're getting ready to share with us how your body reacted to foods and allergies and is sensitive, and then you found yourself in a situation where you now are overcome and still have to be aware of asthma. So she's going to talk to us about eating, hydration, and the importance of rest. So, Mark, if you would give me the honors and bring Pastor Darlene up, that would be phenomenal.
Hello.
Hello, hello, and welcome. So glad to have you this evening.
Yes, it is my privilege to be with you. Oh my goodness. Listening to you share your story and all of the information, when you were talking about water, I was getting really excited because I remember running into that very same thing, looking at the water, and I'm like, wait a minute, it's not just water.
Right.
It's not just water. And so when we're talking about how we're supposed to take care of our bodies, one of the things that my doctor told me when I was younger, that I needed to drink water
Yes.
to help me to be hydrated. And the more hydration I had in my body, the better my body would function. We don't realize how important water is to our health. And when I wasn't doing the right thing, I opened myself up for a myriad of issues that pertain to asthma. And as I shared with you, Maxine, I was born with that issue. My father had it, and it was something that was hereditary, and it passed down to me. And at 9 months, I'm in
9 months.
in an oxygen tent,
Wow.
and
Wow.
they're standing over me and praying and believing God is going to touch my body, and He did,
He did. And still touching it.
and still touching my body.
And still touching it. Well,
Yeah.
Pastor Darlene, I know that you talking about born with it in an
Hmm.
oxygen tent for 9 months. And where you are today, an author, a mother, helping caregivers to understand how they do self care. So tell me a little bit about your life strategy and how do you get to this point that you are?
Oh, you know what? It was 2019, November 15th, when I was getting ready to go and get my hair done.
Mm-hmm.
I'd walked out in my bedroom and I look on the floor. I see my husband's shoes on the floor, his sneakers on the floor. So I knew he hadn't gone out for his morning constitutional. So I'm
Right.
looking around to tell him goodbye. And I couldn't find him. And I'm calling his name and he's not answering me. And I find him in the restroom, sitting on the toilet, barely breathing. And I'm catching my breath because I'm looking at him, what's going on? And within minutes, I'm calling the ambulance, and everyone shows up and they take his blood pressure, and his blood pressure is through the roof.
Wow.
Come to find out that he'd had a hemorrhagic stroke, which was a brain bleed that took place in the back of his head. So he spent months in the hospital while they're trying to drain out the blood and the fluid. And it was on that day that our lives changed, that I became his caregiver. I
Mm,
became his advocate on that day because he could not speak for himself. He couldn't talk about what he wanted to have done with him. He couldn't answer any questions, couldn't sign any papers. I was it. And it was from that day on that things changed. And the things that I knew I was supposed to be doing to take care of myself, it really went into overdrive because
mm.
now it was not just, oh, a nice to do to take care of myself. It was a need to do.
Yeah. I wish I had learned that, but I see I didn't learn that soon enough.
Mm.
Taking care of my husband for 7 years. It wasn't until the fifth year when I found myself, he was sick on one sofa and I was sick on the other.
Ooh.
And then it dawned on me, hey, wait a minute, this is not the way this is supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
right, so that's a wake up call. That makes you take notice. Like, wait a minute, I'm the caregiver, and I'm just as sick as the person I'm supposed to be taking care of. That's not a good picture.
Right. There's something wrong with this picture.
Yes.
Well, what I realized, and I had a wonderful community, still do. But as I stayed at the hospital, because one of the things that I did was I literally moved into the hospital.
Okay.
There was the heart. He was at Wake Med in Raleigh,
Mm-hmm.
and there was the Heart Hotel that I was able to stay in, and it was right there connected to where Kevin was. So I literally got a room, and in the morning I'm right down there taking notes, finding out what are they saying about Kevin? How are they, going to be treating him? Because he was a test case. He
Mm,
wasn't just the usual, let's just dry him out and let's just move forward. There were some other mitigating circumstances that he was experiencing.
right,
And
right.
so there were some other things that we had to do. So what I found is it was important for me to definitely be healthy so I could be knowledgeable of what they were going to do with him,
Mm-hmm.
and be aware of what was going to take place when we got home.
Correct.
And I had the best nurse friend. We went to church together. And I remember one morning she comes to me, her name's Michelle. She came in the room. She said, "Come on, let's go. I'm taking you out for breakfast." And we left the room. And one of the things she said to me, and it was so good, what a beautiful reminder. She says, "They're taking care of him. You take care of you."
That was good advice.
Wonderful advice.
But
What?
wait. That's a platinum nugget.
Absolutely.
That's a platinum nugget, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Take care of yourself.
Yes. Because if the person is in a hospital, the nursing staff, they are going in there every few hours, checking him out, making sure he's okay. They're not asking me how I'm doing.
Right.
I'm not the patient. So it's really up to me to take care of me. And that's what I did.
Well,
I
perfect.
made,
That's a beautiful story that how you now segue into you being a caregiver and talking about caregiving. But before we get totally down deep into that, talk
yeah.
to me about how you're able to maintain your asthma levels and keep from flaring up. What is it that you do with that?
Oh, let me tell you that oh my goodness, there's a story behind this one. As I
Okay.
said, I grew up with asthma, and growing up I was allergic to grass. When the fresh grass, I was not going outside because it was a trigger. I was allergic to dogs, I was allergic to cats. My body would just like, I'd get hives and I'd get sick, my eyes would blow up, and I'd be breathing heavy. And it was my father taking me up to the hospital, and that's when they were giving the injections, and you were getting the epinephrine injections.
Right.
And then I'd be halfway home and I'd say, "Daddy, you got to stop the car." Why? Because I had to throw up all the stuff that was in me. And then I go home and I have to sleep for a day, and then I would be better. But
Okay.
as I got older, some of those things, I was allergic. Oh, that was the other thing. I was allergic to strawberries. I was allergic to chocolate. These things I could not consume. I was allergic to peanuts. That if they came in contact with my skin or anything, again, my throat would begin to close up.
Wow.
And so one of the things that I learned to do as I grew up is to be very careful of where I went. When I would go to a restaurant, I never would eat Thai food because Thai food was always made with peanuts. They made it, and for those who enjoy peanuts, I'm happy for you. It's just not, I'm just gonna stay healthy.
That's how that you know what, no matter how much we love something, we just have to steer away from it when we know it's gonna do our body, it's not gonna help our bodies at all.
Exactly.
Well,
It will not
let
help
me
us.
give a quick shout out to is that Shanina Branch. Thank you for giving us love. We're so glad to have you
Woo,
joining us.
wonderful.
Woo, woo.
That is so wonderful.
Yes,
But
if you know of others who need to hear this, please reach out to them and have them to tune in because this is a platinum nuggets that are being dropped tonight.
oh
And
my,
we're here to save a life by bringing awareness to preservatives and additives and chemicals. And listen, we just heard about peanuts. I've heard about peanuts for years, but I
yes.
never heard anybody really being allergic to cats and dogs and
Oh yes. Absolutely. Cats and dogs. The If I was around a cat, I wouldn't even, it wouldn't have to be near me. But if I went into a room where there was cat dander, it would find me and my eyes would swell up. They would begin to itch. And the next thing you know, they were swollen all around. And then my breathing would become labored. And then it's lights out.
Wow. That reminds me when I walk into a room and someone has an air freshener plugged into the room,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
because it has sulfites in it. And just
Mhm.
the fact that if I inhale it, I can you do exactly what you're talking about. I start wheezing, my eyes does not swell, but I can immediately my breathing changes.
it gets labored.
Yes,
Hmm. Yes,
exactly. Very heavy chest. And it's like, wow. And at first I didn't know what was coming from until I came back home and started doing research on
exactly.
what the ingredients are in some of these fragrances. And I cannot even have the ones that you put in the car. You know how you put the deodorizer
Mm.
in the car?
Yes, yes.
I cannot have one of those.
You're
No.
just gonna have to. You're just gonna have to cut a lemon and
Yes.
put it in the car, and get
Yes.
savings from the lemon and put it in the car, and you're doing great.
I'm okay with that. I'll put a little olive oil in it so
There
it
you
can
go.
stay longer. Make my own oils.
Make your own oil. Make your own oil. Well,
All
then
right.
that,
Tell me,
yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead with the story.
So even after my husband came home from the hospital, we were during COVID because he came home May 6th, 2020. And that was in the midst of COVID when everything had shut down. So you're not really going out and just going here and going there. So
Right.
we were here in the house. And one of the things that I learned the hard way is that you do need to get out of the house. If you just open your doors and
Okay.
walk out of your house and get fresh air in your house. What happens is if you're not circulating the air by opening the door, going outside, you going outside, getting the fresh air, getting the vitamin D from the sun and all of that, when you're not nourishing your body, because we are from the earth,
Yes.
and getting what they you've heard of them to have heard of people talking about getting grounded. That's
Yeah.
when you take your shoes off and you walk on the grass and you
Yeah.
really get the minerals and things from the earth. That helps your body. Well, this chick right here got in trouble because I was not doing it as much as I should, and I was putting it off
Mm.
and putting it off. And I'll say, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And I found myself, I got sick. I had an asthma attack. My husband came home in May, and in October, I had an asthma attack that put me in the hospital.
Right.
And my husband's in, I was at a shepherd's meeting. So our community, they took Kevin home and stayed with Kevin, and I'm in the hospital. And I'm sitting in the hospital and I'm saying, God, I know this is not what you have for me. I know this body is supposed to be here to take care of my husband, the one that you blessed me with. And I said, God, you've got to touch this body of mine, and I need to know what happened.
Right.
And while I sat there in the hospital, he told me what happened. He said, Darlene, you spent more time making sure he had every single thing that he needed. That the day you were supposed to take yourself to get your checkup, you didn't go. On the day that you were supposed to make sure you got your mammogram, you didn't go. The day you were supposed to go and make sure you took care of you, you did not do it. And you tried to find the easy way out. You tried to go around and circumvent. And I told you what to do, and you were disobedient.
Mm.
And when I realized that trying to find the easy way out, trying to do the workarounds,
Mm-hmm.
that's not the way to do it. We need, as a people, really need to take heart that we have to do what is right for us. If we make sure the one we're caring for gets to their doctor's appointment, we make sure we get to ours.
You know, Darlene, that is so true. I just made myself a note. Physicals,
Yes,
annual physicals, and they are there. Why? That's why it says annual, once a
yes,
year.
once a
Find
year.
out what's going on with your body, because if you start waiting 2 or 3, 4 years, then whatever what happened that first year, it has escalated. It has compounded itself that third, fourth, and fifth year. You want them to be able to catch whatever they can catch early as possible, so that you can have that recovery, that reversal, You don't
And
want
reverse it.
right. It can be reversed if they catch it in time. Majority of the time it can be reversed. I can't say everything.
Right.
Majority of the time it can be reversed. And many times you can reverse it through the foods that you intake and the foods that you ingest and the foods that you cook. You know,
Yes.
so and then because I always talk about the minerals, the enzymes, your vitamins. I never knew all of that when I was growing up. I didn't have to know it because we lived off of the land. We
That's
had
what we did. Yes. When we were growing up, my grandfather had a farm.
yes,
So
yes,
whenever we ate, it was straight. It was, you talk about farm to table.
yes.
It was
Same here.
backyard to table, you
Yeah.
know, and
Listen,
well to the
it
food
was
we
so good. It was so good with us that I would take a salt shaker with salt and pepper in it. So whenever I would go to the garden, we had to go pick the greens or whatever we had to go pick. I would always go to the cucumber patch or the tomatoes. And let me tell you, I would have myself a field day. Just wipe them off, blow them, wipe them off, and put that salt and pepper on it, and like we're good to go. That was a meal in itself.
Yes. Now my mother would do that. She would slice up those tomatoes. She would make tomato sandwiches. I said,
Yes,
"What?"
yes,
But those were, that's when it was fresh, no pesticides, there was nothing on it. It was straight from the ground.
exactly, exactly.
So
Oh, I miss those days. Let me tell you,
I
I
do.
those days.
But you know what? I created, well, not created, I brought the days back in
Come
my
on,
home.
come
What
on.
I decided to do was this: in order for me to make sure that I have healthy fruit and vegetables for me, I invested in a hydroponic uh, mechanism. It's a tower garden,
Mhm.
and I grow my own vegetables.
Oh,
So when I want to eat my vegetables, literally, I go right to my tower garden, pick them off. I can have up to a half an acre of fresh vegetables right there,
wow.
because I recognize that certain, when you talk about sulfates and sulfites, certain sulfites also, because I was, after we talked, I was
Hmm.
thinking about other things that really affected me, and certain sulfites, they have
Yes,
an effect on my breathing.
yes,
And so I recognize that when we listen to our bodies and pay attention to how they respond to certain foods. I found myself going to a chiropractor, and the
okay,
chiropractor gave me a food allergy test.
okay.
The food allergy test revealed that broccoli was not my friend. Now, most people would think, why wouldn't broccoli be your friend? What
Hmm.
broccoli did to me, it caused inflammation.
Hmm.
Eating chicken is not my friend,
Same.
because there's lectin in the chicken that causes inflammation. If you were to take yourself
Let me
30,
say this. Let me say this. I think that is awesome that you just brought up that point because I am the type of person I have to eat for my blood type. They say eat
yes,
for your
ma'am.
book out here called Eat for Your Type, and it's about blood types.
Yes,
And I literally have to follow that because when I follow, if I don't follow it, trust me, I started gaining weight. When I follow it, I started losing, losing weight. Because when you understand what your body can process and what it cannot process, and if it's going to give you
yes,
inflammation, if it's going to, give you mucus, all these different things about the body, even some things you eat have lecithin in it. And so you have to
that's
understand
correct.
what that would do to your body. And when I
Yes,
started understanding my blood type and eating for my blood type is when I started making totally a shift in my life and in my health. But I had
yes,
to keep a food diary though. See, I
yes.
had to keep a food journal in order to
Mhm.
start figuring out because it's too much. It was too much. It was
Yes.
too much to
Well,
keep up within my brain, so I had to write it down.
yes. Well, there's a book, that book, Eating Right for Your Blood Type. And what they do is they actually have a book specifically for each
Yes.
blood type. And I
Yes.
found I'm B negative. So I don't really require eating much meat.
Same
I
here.
I could do vegetables all day long, fruit and vegetables all day long. And the type of meat that they would they list for you to eat is very odd, like bison. And let me tell
Lamb.
you,
I'm B positive. So
you're
I
be positive and I'm be negative. So you know. So I would go, I tried it. I went and bought some bison. And do you know it is the most delicious
yes,
meat, and it is very lean,
very
and it gives me what I need,
and tender. Yes,
and very tender.
yes,
So
yes,
when you begin to really listen to your body and really abide by what your body should consume, what it should have in it, you will find yourself feeling healthier. But with all of that, even if you eat right, even if you drink the right amount of water, but if you are not sleeping like you should,
mm-hmm.
all of that other stuff goes out the window. One of the things I think is so important is that we have to get proper rest. And I don't mean just like I'm sleeping, because there's a difference between sleep and rest.
Right.
Your entire body needs to be at rest. And going through a specific cycle from the hours of 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., your body goes through a complete cycle where you will know that you have recalibrated your brain. So anything you studied during the day between the hours of 10 and 2, it recalibrates. So now it's in your memory bank and you can recall it. That
Right.
the whole notion of doing a what do they do? Pull those all nighters,
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
trying to take study for a test that they didn't take the time to study like they should.
It didn't retain it because it could not comprehend all of that in one and no 8 hours of what you just said. You have to give it an opportunity to relax and recalibrate. And then I call it the white matter. You have to allow
Yes,
the white matter, because that's when you download all of that new information into your brain.
yes. And then the other thing is this: we have to learn how to study properly, even
Huh.
because people spend hours studying. But what I found from those who are the professionals, they said that you study for 20-minute increments
That's right.
and then you take a break.
Yes.
And before you start to study again, you remind yourself of what you just studied and
Correct.
then you add on to it. A
Correct.
lot of people trying to do, I'm going to pull this all nighter and I'm going to study for hours and hours and hours. 20-minute increments, you will do better and you will process information a lot faster, and it will stay a lot longer when you find yourself doing it the right way.
And the other thing they have to take into consideration when you're studying, you need to study according to your learning style.
Talk
Even
about it.
even if you do the 20 minutes, it's important that you study. I always say, I teach a matter of fact, I have a workshop on learning styles.
Mm-hmm.
So not only do you need to know your learning style, but you need to know how to take notes according to your learning
Your
style.
learning
You
style.
need to know how to study according to your learning style. And then therefore you would end up having to be able to take the test with ease. And I
Yes.
guarantee you that your test results are going to be improved. Use the 20 minutes that Darlene is sharing with you here. Use your the way you learn and put all of that together, and that's when voila. I
Oh,
mean, my
absolutely.
students just take off when they do that.
Yes. Once you understand, uh, uh, some people think that they can't learn
Mm,
because the educational system had only been geared toward one style of learning. Everybody sit down, face the teacher. Teacher's going to talk to you. They put the stuff on the board. You write it down and you remember it. No.
yeah, you know what? Notice, Darlene, if you're in the backstage and you were hearing what I said, I have a PowerPoint this evening because I believe in catering to all the learning styles. I
Oh,
said,
I was
those
laughing
who
so.
read can read. Those who are auditory can listen to me.
Yeah.
Those who are kinesthetic, I want you to take notes. And then
Yes.
you're retaining the information.
Absolutely. I laugh because I said that's exactly how I like to present things. I like to be able to present it. So tonight is a storytelling. So this is where you get to listen and laugh and converse. But I really believe it's important that when we're wanting to teach something, that
Yes,
we incorporate every one of those learning styles, because that helps us even in taking care of our bodies.
that's right. That's right.
Our body is such an incredible machine. Oh my goodness.
It's meant to repair itself if we were only given an opportunity to repair itself. And that rest that you're talking about and the body recalibrating itself at night, that's when it starts repairing itself. But if you never get that proper rest, you don't give the body an opportunity to repair itself.
And that's what happened with my husband. One of the I did some reading and studying on the brain, because for those of you, when a person suffers a hemorrhagic stroke, it affected the back of the brain, which is a part of his memory. And so one of the things that we had to figure out, how can we help him to retain and learn and all of that.
Right.
One of the most important things they said was rest. So if he slept for 10 hours, it's okay,
Yes.
because what's happening is just like when a child goes through their growing pains and their legs are kind of feeling kind of wonky. When they sleep, the longer they sleep, the more their body grows.
Hmm.
Same thing holds true with a brain that is being reset. Now it's got to find new neural pathways to
Right.
connect, because a part of the brain has been damaged.
That's right.
So it
Yes.
has to find a new way to connect. And the way it connects is through rest. So we do a little bit of work, and then we take a break and we take a rest. We do something totally different, but we come back to that to be able to help it. But the rest is so critical to help him to heal himself. Mm,
I love the fact that you're emphasizing rest and you
yeah.
said to help him. But, ladies and gentlemen, this is a platinum nugget. This is a platinum moment. I
Yeah.
want you to write down rest. And I want you to write your definition of rest and see, are you having an opportunity to allow your body to recalibrate? Whether it's due, because some people work night, so that means you rest during the day. And for those who you're working on at day during the day, are you resting at night? And
Yes.
so, or do you have all the, they call it blue light? Do you have the blue light in your room with the
Mhm.
TV on, the radio on, but the soft music is good because that's white space and that's okay, but you have to see how are you going to totally allow your body to go, I call it under, allow
Well,
your body to go under into that deep sleep where you know that your body is at full relaxation and resting.
well, that's important. And the way you can really help yourself get there is, like I always say, when it begins to get dark outside, it should begin to get dark inside.
That's a good. Wait, listen. We cannot pass that up. That is a platinum nugget. Did you all write that down? I'm gonna have to adhere to that.
When it starts to get dark outside, it should begin to get dark inside.
Love it. Love
So
it.
you turn your lights down low. For those of you who watch television, you should turn your television off at least 2 hours
Right. 2 hours.
before it's time to go to sleep. When we talk about the blue lights, I would say, if you can, keep your phone away from you, because it does affect the way you sleep. See, these eyelids, you can still see
That's true.
behind the eyelids.
That's true.
And so
Help,
when
help them to close your eye. Help them to close your eyes now, and
yeah,
you still see
you
the
can
light. You
still
can
see
still
the
see it.
light
Yes.
behind. So you can still see light. So it's going to be important that you have dark, even if you can get those room darkening shades and you close, and you should also be sleeping in a cool room. The temperature in your room should be cool. Have a fan going or have your temperature go down in the evening so that you are sleeping in a cool room. That helps your body to be at rest. And then when it's time to get up in the morning, here's a couple of things that I do before I get out of bed.
Okay.
When I wake up, and I know it sounds silly, but it is so wonderful. It helps to start your day. When I wake up, I smile. That's what I do. I smile
Love it.
because that's how you're framing your day. Wake up with a smile. And then I tell God, thank you for another day. I thank Him for another day. And then I do a stretch. While I'm in the bed, you can stretch your arms above your head, stretch your legs, because you got to remember, you've been laying down all night and you've got toxins that have been sitting and lying all in your body. And you want to get rid of those toxins. So the next thing you want to do is have a bottle of water by your bed. That's room temperature. You can put lemon in it if you'd like. But you should be drinking water that's room temperature when you first wake up. And I recommend room temperature because that's where your body is. Your body is at room temperature, thereabouts.
Well, we're going to keep them curious because we have 5 minutes to go.
Ooh, no!
I know we could talk for another hour and still would not run out of something to talk about.
I know. Well, thank you for having me.
It's been really awesome. Let me give a shout out to Crystal Sonberg Jordan, who gave us a thumbs up. We appreciate it. But ladies and gentlemen, I heard hydration. I love those instructions that you just gave about when you wake up. Smile.
Yes.
It uses less muscles than when you frown.
Yes. Only 33 to smile.
Okay, there you go. And then say thank you for another day. And that's that's for us who are on that spiritual side. You have to do what you feel comfortable doing, and then stretch. I was told one time before you should always stretch, and I remembered it's like I try to grow like another 2 or 3 inches. In the morning time when I'm stretching, when you lay in the bed, you got those arms going way back.
Yes, give me another inch or 2.
And the toes are going straight out, like you're a ballerina or you're swimming or you want to do the backstroke or something like that. But that's getting that full stretch into the body, and it awakens the body as well. And it helps the muscles. So when you don't just jump out of bed, because jump out of bed, you could either be dizzy or you could fall.
Yes, you can.
When you stretch, then you give those muscles a chance to wake up. The bones a chance to start moving. The blood start flowing. So you have all these things that's happening through these exercises that you're talking about doing. And then drink the water. Yes. I do keep a bottle of water. I keep a glass of water because I have to be careful about the bottled water. But I keep
glass is better.
Yeah, I keep a glass by my bed. Matter of fact, I have and then I put a top on it.
Thank you. That's it. That's it. That's it. I like it. Now, so for those of you who eat pickles or relish or whatever, save those glass jars because you have. I knew it. I knew, or even yes. Save the glass jar.
I think a marinara organic
marinara sauce. That looks like Rayo's.
It's Trader Joe's or Aldi's, but organic. But the beautiful thing about this, it has the word Mason on it. So it's a Mason jar. And that's what my mother used to can all her fruits and vegetables in were Mason jars. So I know that's a quality jar.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, listen, like I said, we could continue to talk forever. But we have Darlene's, that's my information because I'm having a boot camp coming up next week. But that's for those who need to get that resume together like I talked about earlier. But you can also go there and register for the resume boot camp. But Darlene's contact information should be coming across the screen again so that you'll be able to reach out to Darlene and let her know how much you appreciated what we talked about tonight this evening. and that's going to be THORNEDARLENE at gmail.com. So hopefully the producer will run it by the on the ticker taper in just a minute, Darlene, so that the people will know exactly how to reach you. That's Thorn, then is it L Darlene at gmail.com. And we'll also, there it goes. And then we'll also make sure we put it in the chat box as well. So Darlene, it's been wonderful. It's been absolutely phenomenal having you here this evening, talking about all these different platinum nuggets you just dropped. The fact that, yes, you know, there's so many different food sensitivities, and also ask your doctor for an allergy and a sensitivity test. I know I had an allergy test earlier, but it didn't reveal anything. Maybe that was probably about 10 years ago. So I need to have another one done with the sensitivity, so it can just reveal what if there's some other things that my body has an intolerance for. But whatever you do, talk to your doctor, have a conversation with your primary. We're not sitting here trying to be doctors. We're just sharing with you what we have encountered, and we're bringing awareness, so that my whole objective and Darlene's objective as well is to save a life.
Yes.
If we can save a life by sharing this information with you, then we're glad to do it. But the other thing is, you can't keep it to yourself. You must turn around and share it with others. Why have them go through something that they don't have to go through? Why have their children to be going through allergies if they don't have to go through it? So Darlene, it's been a pleasure having you here. I know we got to close it down. It's 8:00. Yes. So I want to say to my viewing audience, thank you for being here this evening. Thank you for listening. And I thank you and I trust you for writing those platinum nuggets down, and do share the information. As I always say, I believe in you, and I trust you believe in yourself. So have a great evening, and I'll see you next week.
Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.